darn it. Hold on. Hello. Hello, how are you all? I will wait just a minute, let people get in. Happy Wednesday. Hi, Mr. Old School. Actually, you were second. Haha. Maggie from Boston. Let's go, Brandon. Hi. Hey, Lance. How are you? Yay, Mandy. Am I good? I'm having some connection issues. I don't know what's happening right now. Hello. Okay, I think I'm good. I just had some connection issues, but I think we're all good. Okay, good. I had a little issue for a second. What's up, you guys? Lance said my live streams tend to glitch at first and then they settle down. I don't know why. Seems to be resolved. Okay, that's good news. Okay, so this... Hello. There's all kinds of stuff happening. Did you see? I posted a video about it earlier. Did you see what was going on with Neil Young? We were talking about him in the live stream, or you guys brought him up in the live stream last night, and then I finally looked at this story, and I didn't realize what happened, but Neil Young was trying to get Joe Rogan, or he gave Spotify an ultimatum to get Joe Rogan taken off Spotify, which is just hilarious because... Hi, Danielle. It's just hilarious just knowing how popular Joe Rogan is, and he's in $100 million deal with Spotify, pulls in 11 million viewers slash listeners per episode for Neil Young to think. An absolute clown. And it's really sad because he's a respected musician, and to do something like that is kind of, it's foolery. And also, I don't know if you watched my video, then you know, but he put out an album where he was against all this. Basically, it was an album, a music album that was against all this biotechnology, and he was encouraging people, you know, before you put any GMOs in your body, before you do anything like that, make sure you have all the information to make an educated decision as a consumer. Yes. So he's a total hypocrite. He and the Daily Beast, which is a super far lefty magazine, they were criticizing him for almost being responsible for a lot of the hesitancy that people have. And so he's just a total hypocrite. Anyway, yeah, so Spotify obviously is not going to be taking Joe Rogan off of its platform. I'm pretty sure he's one of their biggest earners on the platform. But now Neil Young's catalog is not going to be on Spotify anymore, which is also, that's also stupid because there's a much younger generation that has no idea who Neil Young is, that probably could have, sometimes you find artists when you're listening to a song or a playlist and then one of his songs, so he's missing out on a whole new audience that could discover him on this platform. So it's just really silly, very silly. Spotify is still liberal trash. Yeah, and apparently they actually have taken down about 40 of Joe's episodes, and it just blows my mind how he triggers so many people, because really in my opinion, he just is someone who likes to have conversations, and he's very curious, and he asks questions. A lot of times I don't even know his stance on things. It's just, it's quite silly. It's really silly, actually, that he just triggers so many people. And it just goes to show that a lot of people that he triggers, I feel like they probably don't even watch. They've probably never even watched or listened to a single episode of his. Okay, so I was going to talk about, I just found this amazing clip of a delegate in Virginia who is very fed up with the slandering that comes from the left. And this came out today. This was in the House of Delegates in Virginia, and I think you'll really enjoy it. It's 2 minutes and 30 seconds long, but it's worth every second, I promise. And then we're going to talk about this craziness that's happening with this live action Snow White that Disney is attempting to make, and the backlash they're getting from Peter Dinklage. So we'll go into that. Also, a new gun law passed in San Jose, California, and it already has a lawsuit against them. And I think this is really significant because if this goes through in San Jose, California, I guarantee it'll start to pop up everywhere because this is the first city to pass something like this. And then if you want to go into extra stories, we can. Okay, but first I'm going to play you this audio. You're going to like it, I promise. This was today, and remember, Glenn Youngkin just got elected in Virginia, and also there's a big controversy with a lot of the public school systems in Virginia, and Loudoun County is in Virginia. That was a hotbed of a lot of the really heated school board meetings, and the teachers love to call any parents that disagree with CRT or any of these policies that they're trying to enact in school, they call them bigots and all of that. This is where the parents being terrorists came from. So this is a guy, his name is Nick. He's on the floor in the House of Delegates, and this is what he had to say.
Rise for a point of personal privilege.
The delegate has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I was asked by a colleague of mine on the other side of the aisle, someone I actually deeply respect, and she asked me, was I going to be nice this session? And I thought it was an interesting question. I don't particularly think of myself as an unnice person, but I can see how sometimes people would see that differently. But you know what I've never done, Mr. Speaker? I've never got on this floor and I've challenged the faith of an elected official because I disagreed with them on policy. I've never gone on this floor, Mr. Speaker, and suggested that the other side of the aisle were racist because they didn't agree with my particular policy positions. I've never suggested they were sexist because they didn't agree with my particular policy positions. But I'm keeping a running tally so far of this session. We're not very far into it. And almost every day, someone on the other side of the aisle either gets up and either subtly or comes right out and suggests that if you don't agree with them on policy, well, then you're not a Christian. You're a sexist. You're a bigot. You're a racist. But the moment someone actually stands up and says, wait a second, no, I'm not going to accept that. If you want to debate me on the merits of our particular policies, I am happy to have that discussion. But the moment you claim, with no evidence other than we don't agree on a particular policy position, the moment you claim that that makes us racist or sexist or bigoted, Mr. Speaker, I've got news. This was tried during the election cycle. You had a lot of parents coming to their local elected officials asking questions about what was going on in their schools. And the initial response was, oh, it's not there. And then when they saw evidence that it was, based off of what their kids were coming home and saying to them, and they went back and reissued the concern, then they got told, oh, well, then you must be a racist. Because that has been the repeated narrative coming from certain members of the other side of the aisle. And there's been a lot of times where we've sat here politely and just took it. Mr. Speaker, not this time. I'm tired of it. My constituents are tired of it. Because when these claims are made, they're not just made against Governor Youngkin. They're not just made against us. They are made in part against the people that elected to send us here. And I don't know a single person in this chamber that I would define as racist or sexist or bigoted. We have very different ideas about how to get to particular end states where all Virginians can be happy, healthy, prosperous, and free. But just so I'm very clear, will I be nice this session? I would certainly like to be, but I'm not about to sit here and listen to that, Mr. Speaker, and then go home to my constituents and have them ask me, why didn't you stand up and defend us? So let's have a robust policy discussion. But if you're going to question the faith or the intentions of anybody that happens to disagree with you on policy, then you don't get to lecture us on compassion, tolerance, or an open debate. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, it kind of cut off, but he got a standing ovation. So that was Nick. What's his last name? He's a delegate in Virginia. Nick Fratias? Yes, he's a delegate in Virginia. And I loved that. I think we need a lot more of that, and a lot more people need to stand up. And he's right. You know, conservatives and Republicans, they're very polite and they're very nice, and they just take it. And also, I will say, when you first start to hear those things, when people first start slandering you with those things, it is kind of scary and it takes you aback. But that's not how adults talk. And I remember the first time I saw this was way back at the beginning of the Dems even clapped. I think they did. No, I think they will, because it's really, people are just getting so sick and tired of it. You can't have a debate because they just automatically say, yeah, Nick for president. They just automatically say, you're an idiot, you're an ist, you're this, you're that, you're sexist. And it's like, how are we supposed to have an adult conversation? If you can't even, and I don't know if you remember, if any of you were here on one of my live streams, we went back at sort of the beginnings of the woke, and one beginning of this was this is so random, this Glee fandom, and they admitted that they started using these terms at each other. So this whole Glee fandom, it was like 30,000 people, and after every episode, and every group had like a subgroup, every character had like 11,000 just followers and fans. So whenever anything happened on the show, they would all start to fight with each other online, and it got vicious. And they would use terms like problematic or stuff like that to shut down argument, and that's exactly what it is. They do that to shut down argument, so there is no argument. And the first time I saw this was actually when at the beginning of Trump's presidency, when they did what they called the trans ban in the military, even though it wasn't that, it was a lot more complicated than that. But this actually came by the request of the military for very specific reasons. And this is what was happening on the floor of, I think it was either the Senate or the Congress. I think it was on the floor of Congress, where they were debating this whole thing back and forth, and one of the Republicans got up and he was so frustrated, and he was like, we can sit here and debate the details, but we're not even able to do that. We're not even able to have an adult conversation because everybody on the other side of the aisle, instead of debating particular points with ideas and with policy ideas, we're just all being called phobes and being shut down. How are we supposed to solve anything or move forward if that's how you're shutting down argument? And just because we have, and what this guy was saying, just because we have different ideas on policies, most of us want the same thing. We just have different ideas on how to get there. And to question someone's faith or to question their morals because of a policy idea difference is wrong. And it's the same party that will also lecture you on morals and being tolerant and being accepted and saving our democracy or whatever else it is that they say. And they're the ones that are not allowing these civil debates to happen. I really liked what he said. I thought that was good. Anyway, I saw that right before. There's a lot going on in Virginia right now. And I saw that right before I got on. I thought you would enjoy listening to it. Biden is weekend at Bernie's. Yeah, and I saw yesterday he went to get ice cream. It was so funny because Jen Psaki did a press conference, and she was like, "Oh, he's going to be busy today. He's got all these things. I never know. He stays busy." And then all this footage of Biden going to get ice cream came out. Yeah, Lance said conservatives need to stop turning the other cheek. I agree. Because typically, I will say, like, when you actually stand up, and I've done it before to people, when you actually stand up and say no, when you stand up and you challenge them when they start calling you names like that, and when you do what that guy did, they can't say anything in return. Ice Cream Joe. He doesn't back down. And Biden gets brain freeze before he even eats. Yes, he does. Okay, this is let's go on to the next thing. Let's go on to be fair, it took a lot of energy to get his ice cream. It probably did. Okay, let's move on to Disney because this is just so Peter Dinklage, he's the guy. He was in Elf. That's where I first saw him. He was also in Game of Thrones, and recently he was on a podcast, Mark Maron's podcast called W2F, and he was talking about this live action Snow White, this Disney movie that's coming out, and it got a little bit. People were talking about it a little bit because they cast Snow White as, I believe, like a Latina girl, and so he's going to talk about that a little bit. But now Peter Dinklage is mad because of the Seven Dwarfs. So he was on, and what's interesting about this is the characters that Peter Dinklage, is that how you say it, Dinklage? Dinklage, okay. If you look at the characters that Peter Dinklage has played, his character in Elf was him and Will Ferrell's character got into it, and Will Ferrell was saying all these like derogatory names to him, but then Peter Dinklage came and basically like beat him up, which was the whole joke of the thing. Hi, Gary. And then he also played, and then the character that he played in Game of Thrones also had a lot of derogatory terms said to him. So Dinklage was awesome in three. Oh, I didn't see that. But this is what he said about the live action Snow White. So he's on the podcast and he says, literally no offense to anyone, but I was a little taken aback when they were very proud to cast a Latina actress as Snow White. And by the way, that's not progressive. That's just performative. They don't care. They're just performing. Anyway, he says, but you're telling the story of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Take a step back and look at what you're doing there. It makes no sense to me. You're progressive in one way, but you're still making an effing backwards story about seven dwarves living in a cave together. What the F are you doing, man? Have I done nothing to advance the cause from my soapbox? I guess I'm not loud enough. I don't know which studio this is, but they were so proud of it. All love and respect to the actress and all the people who thought they were doing the right thing, but I'm like, what are you doing? And you have to understand, this guy, in some of his most infamous roles, has played a character that had derogatory terms said to him, and he's saying, what have I done to advance this? Well, now he's getting a little bit of backlash actually from actors that play the dwarves, and I'll just show you what they say about this. So one actor said, there won't be much of an opportunity for actors like me to get over by Christmas periods. And I think I will have a knock-on effect because other people might think it might be derogatory to have a dwarf in a certain role. I've had people that have hired me for entertainment and stuff that have concern as well. Well, they're like, oh, we weren't sure if we were going to book you. But don't feel bad about it because I don't feel bad as long as you're being respectful. I'm there. I'm getting paid. This is supporting me in my life. Because Disney has now, because Peter Dinklage said this, Disney has sort of taken the knee and they're like, okay, we are going to, rethink how we do this and consult certain groups. And now they're going to be calling them like mystical creatures or something like that. But some of the people that play the dwarfs are actually mad. They say, A lot of my colleagues and myself rely on that work to get by, and it's just embracing your uniqueness when I play that part. They utilize my body and they utilize my bodybuilding and other people's skills. So this is one person, he was a bodybuilder. And when I'm playing the part, it makes me feel quite impressive because I feel like the spotlight is on us and it's quite a magical experience. And so to be on stage, it really helps my confidence. I think everyone who does it, they do it because they enjoy it. They wouldn't do it otherwise. I encourage Disney to stick to the original. Oh, Eli, thank you so much. First, go dogs. I have a dim female friend and she brought up abortion and said angrily, hold on. And said angrily, I don't have a say in it because I'm a man. So I said, how dare you assume my gender? Dead silence, mic drop. I'm going to get back to that in a minute because I actually saw a really funny response to this and you could say it to your friend. But you know what? Okay, so in some of the people that play the dwarves, and I think they play it in the stage version, they're calling him a hypocrite because of the characters that he plays, because of what I just told you. So one person branded Dinklage hypocritical for hitting out at Disney after having featured in Game of Thrones, where his character's size was mentioned and ridiculed. A lot of my colleagues and myself rely on that work to get by, and it's just embracing your uniqueness because when I play the part, oh yeah, I already read you guys that. Yeah. So in response to what Dinklage said, the American company said it's taking a different approach with Snow White's 7 companions and have been consulting with members of dwarfism community throughout the early stages of production. So we'll see what they're going to do. Who knows? But it's like, really, the opportunities that Dinklage got and the roles that he took on, and to say, have I done nothing? It reminds me, Tony, I just saw that came out today. My mind has been somewhere else. I'm going to do a reaction video on that, but I want to watch it when I do the video. I'll probably do it tomorrow, actually. You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of, I was watching a talk show, probably 5 years ago, and there were a group of feminists on the show. And they were speaking out against women that do promotional modeling. So promotional modeling means that a company will hire you and sometimes they'll give you an outfit and you'll go and you'll just promote their product. And they usually hire attractive men or women, and it's mainly women that do it. But I will say this, I've actually done that before when I was younger. It pays really well. It's really easy work and you get taken care of. And sometimes you have to wear a form-fitting outfit, but it's not anything that I would deem derogative or all. It's honest work. They just typically hire attractive women because you are being a promotional model at a car show. No, I didn't do it at a car show, but I've done it at conventions and stuff like that. But they actually, I'm glad you brought that up because on this talk show, they were specifically talking to car show promotional models. And there was a panel of promotional models and a panel of feminists. And they were trying to say that it was against feminism for these women to be doing promotional modeling, and it's just they're being taken advantage of. And the women were sit there and they were saying, no, we're not being taken advantage of. We get paid really good money and we enjoy what we do, and how dare you try to take this away from me? And this kind of reminds me of that a little bit. You think you are being virtuous and you think you're doing the right way, the right thing, but you're inadvertently taking, possibly, I don't know what's going to happen in this situation, but you're taking opportunities away from a certain group of people. And I don't understand how that is progressive at all. And also I want to add, no, Disney is not being progressive by putting exactly, it's jealousy. Disney is not being progressive by casting Snow White as a Latina actor. They're just being performative. That's really all it is. So the abortion thing, another funny response to the abortion thing that I saw. It's a guy, and he basically trolls city council meetings. And he went to a city council meeting, and he didn't want them to ban abortions because he was going to have to change his lifestyle, because he liked going out and being promiscuous and being financially irresponsible and being able to have all of his love affair women go and get abortions. And he was like, how dare you ban them? Like, I feel like you're discriminating against me and my lifestyle. So that's something you could say. Exactly, and it is, and it's, it is, you're right, it's Snow White, her skin is white as snow. So it's just, the whole thing is just, again, it's just a clown world. It's silly. And speaking of a clown world, speaking of Disney, while we're talking about it, I saw this article today and was like, what? Minnie Mouse is ditching her iconic red dress for a pantsuit. Do you remember we were just talking about the M&Ms? And how the really female, the kind of flirty female M&M that wears go-go boots, they're making her wear like tennis shoes, and she's like kind of like I don't know how you would describe it. The same thing is happening to Minnie Mouse. It's like they're trying to erase femininity. It seems like what they're doing, they're erasing femininity. But it says, Minnie Mouse is reclaiming her power in a Stella McCartney power suit. The longtime Disney sweetheart is trading in her iconic polka dot dress for a pair of pants for the first time this year. Disneyland Parks announced Tuesday that Minnie will wear trousers designed by Stella McCartney for the theme park's upcoming 30th anniversary celebration. The party will launch in March for Women's History Month, which inspired the new look. The park's Twitter account shared a sneak peek of Minnie's new outfit, which consists of dark blue and black polka-dotted pantsuit with a matching bow in her hair. Do you want to see what it looks like? It's so ugly. It is so ugly. This is what it looks like. That is ugly. Excuse me. I mean, which would you prefer? Would you prefer this? Or would you prefer that? I think I prefer the red dress. Did you know Stella McCartney, the designer, that's actually Paul McCartney's daughter, if you didn't know. But that's Paul McCartney's daughter. And he's in this article. It says, the 50-year-old British designer and daughter, I'm sorry, no, that's not him. She's 50? Oh my gosh, how old is Paul McCartney? The 50-year-old British designer and daughter of the Beatles legend Paul McCartney spoke to D23, the official Disney fan club, about the collab and revealed she's delighted for the opportunity. Minnie has always had a special place in my heart. We share the same values. What I love about Minnie is the fact that she embodies happiness, self-expression, authenticity, and that she inspires people of all ages around the world. Plus, she has such great style. The new take on her signature polka dot dress makes Minnie Mouse a symbol of progress for a new generation. She will wear it in honor of Women's History Month in March 2022. I can't wait for you to see this new look at Walt Disney Studios Park. I don't want the new look. Bring back Disney. Bring back the... No, it really feels like that. I mean, think about some of the things that we talked about this year. First, it started with Victoria's Secret. I'm sure I can name a bunch of other things. I'm just thinking off the top of my head. And then you have, and these seem like really tiny, insignificant things. But it's like it keeps happening and it keeps happening. You have Victoria's Secret. You have, the green M&M. You have Minnie Mouse. And it just feels like they want to get rid of feminism. Or not feminism, femininity. And they want to make women more boyish. Paul is about 80 or 81. Oh, okay, that makes sense. She's 50. So, wow. That makes sense. Speaking of the dwarves, you know my cat Eva? So when I adopted her from a no-kill shelter, and she came in with a litter of 7 kittens, and so they named them all after the 7 dwarves, and Eva was Sleepy. But I renamed her Eva because I didn't want to call her Sleepy. Isn't that cute? Now I should rename her Scary. Disney uses slave trade to manufacture their products, yet no boycotting. No, only boycotting for, very performative virtue signally slash things. Too bad there wasn't a murdery dwarf. Yeah, Eva would be the murdery dwarf. But also, while we're on this subject, this is something else that happened earlier this week. So the New York Times had a new term, speaking of women and just what they're doing to this whole erasure of women and femininity and having like separate genders. The New York Times also introduced a term. The term was menstruator. They were referring to biological women as menstruators. And you know what's interesting about that? It goes in line with what are some of the other crazy words we've heard? Menstruator, chest feeder, birthing person. Instead of just saying a woman, because now the word woman is apparently offensive to men that want to identify as women. It's so backwards. Also, think about this. Feminists I never thought I would sit here being on the side of feminists. But I'll tell you what, whenever I'm researching this whole this whole gender identity and how it's infringing on the rights of women, whenever I'm researching this, the only people that seem to be talking about this are conservatives and radical feminists. Those are the only people that talk about this. And think about it. Feminists have fought for years for women to be seen as more than just their bodies or their bodily function. And now we are reverting back and identifying women by their bodily functions. That is so insulting and so diminishing. Or menopause. Menstruators. I am eating here, folks. I couldn't believe that. The New York Times. What determines gender? Yes. Well, there's this brilliant woman. Is it Parker Posey? Posey Parker, Parker Posey. There's an actress. It's breeders. Yeah, no, that's the next one. They're going to start calling women breeders. Ow. Hello, Braxton. Posey Parker is awesome. That's who she is, Posey Parker. Well, she started this whole campaign, and I think that's where Matt Walsh got it from, was Posey Parker. She has this whole campaign, and her what it is she just defines what a woman is. A woman, an adult human female. Bleeders, ew! Adult. Oh, I saw that. David said the transgender champion on Jeopardy lost today. Louisiana Ninja checking in. Birthers. Where was it that I think that was was it in the UK? Where that's what they said? Birthing people. It's Parker Posey? One is the actress, one is the activist. And they're backwards. Now I'm confused. Posey Parker is the activist. Okay, thank you. I really, really like her. I've watched a lot of her. And she's really good at, and this is exactly what Matt Walsh did, and I think he might have been watching a lot of her, but she is really good at just sticking to the facts, sticking to very logical black and white facts. And whenever you do that, cervix handicapped. Kelly J is her real name. Yeah, I think she goes by Kelly J now. Her real name. She uses more than but she does what Matt Walsh did on Dr. Phil, which I think is brilliant, and it's really the smartest route, is she sticks to the facts, the black and white facts, and when you do that, and when you stay calm and you just stick with the facts, then it really exposes the lunacy of these ideas. And that's exactly what Matt Walsh did. That's why there was such a meltdown after he did that. That's all he did. He was just like, what is a woman? Have a blessed night. I have to finish my spaghetti. Good night, walkie-talkie. Okay, here's the next thing. So San Jose just passed, the city of San Jose, California, just passed a gun insurance. Yes. So this is really significant, because if this happens here, you are going to start I guarantee you are going to start see this popping up everywhere. So let me read you what it is. They're already getting sued. Under San Jose's proposed gun law, by the way, this passed. Actually, did it? Okay, let me just read you this whole thing. The Silicon Valley City Council split the vote into two parts. The first approving the bulk of the proposal, including the insurance provisions, and the second approving the fee provisions. The insurance vote passed 10-1, while fees vote passed 8-3. The ordinance must be approved next month at its final reading in order to take effect in August. Okay, so it hasn't been fully approved, but it has already passed in the vote, and this is what it is. Under San Jose's proposed law, gun owners would be charged an annual $25 fee directed to a nonprofit set up to distribute funds to gun crime prevention and victims of gun violence. The measure would also require gun owners to obtain liability insurance that would cover damage caused by their weapon. After a mass shooting at a public transit rail yard in San Jose in May 2021, 8 workers were killed. The San Jose City Council unanimously approved drafting the ordinance and calling for the restriction on gun owners. Well, they're already getting sued, so we'll get into that in a second. San Jose Mayor Sam Lasardo, a Democrat, acknowledged in the LA Times op-ed that the policies would be ignored by criminals, but hoped police could seize guns from criminals. Critics say that criminals won't obey the insurance fee mandates, and they are right. But these ordinances create a legal mandate that gives police measures for at least temporary forfeiture of guns from dangerous lawbreakers. Well, this is incredibly flawed because, first of all, a lot of criminals have guns illegally, so they're not even registered. Therefore, they're not going to be paying taxes on them. So there's that. And really, the people that this is going to hurt are the law-abiding, gun-owning citizens. This isn't going to hurt the criminals. So anyway, the lawsuit... I'll tell you what it is. The National Foundation for Gun Rights, the legal defense arm of the National Association for Gun Rights, announced early Wednesday morning that it was filing suit to block the implementation of the law. We're suing the city of San Jose for adopting a gun ownership tax, a blatantly unconstitutional scheme designed to tax gun owners simply for living in the city and having a gun in their home. Make no mistake, If this first of its kind gun tax and other mandates are allowed to stand in San Jose, the rabid gun control lobby will export it into cities and states everywhere. We must nip it in the bud now. I totally agree with that. Gun Owners of California, a branch of the gun rights advocacy group, and Gun Owners of America also announced it was suing the city over the new law. Anytime you put a fee on a fee requirement before you can exercise an enumerated constitutional right, you've got a problem. I guarantee there will be a significant legal response. The main question is to ask about this first of its kind gun regulation is whether it gets struck down immediately or if the case stays alive long enough to strike it down in the Supreme Court. So it sounds like they're pretty confident that this will get, every law is an infringement of our second. Yeah, it sounds like they're pretty confident that this will get struck down, and if not, if it doesn't get struck down immediately, it'll get struck down in the Supreme Court. This is so clearly something that we believe we will win in court that we will be asking the city of San Jose to repay our legal fees. Okay, so they're very confident. They basically just said, we're so confident, not only are we going to win, but we want them to pay our legal fees. Oh my gosh, let me get my cat. Eva. Now you have to say hi. If you come in, you have to say hi. This is my murder cat. Say hi. Eva. Look at the camera. Look at the camera. Ow. She never wants to sit on my lap, so I have to force her to. Monster of a cat. I told you she's a big cat. Every time anyone sees her in person, they're like, oh, that's a big cat. The soulless eyes of a killer. Eva, bah humbug. She's actually not an angry kitty, but she always looks very angry. So one of the guys that's heading the lawsuit, he basically says there is zero logic to these proposals. The mayor has admitted that criminals will ignore the law, but he believes he's going to curb gun crime somehow by making the good guys buy liability insurance. That's some oddball reasoning for sure. Yeah, why don't you work on just seizing illegal guns, and I guarantee you that will help curb a lot of gun crime. You know what I'm saying? I feel like, again, that's just something to make it look like we're doing something, but we're not actually not doing something. That's just another way to tax people. And again, just make it look like you're actually doing something when you're not. Criminals always follow the rules. Totally. Oh, and you know what else I read about today? So this is starting to happen in certain parts of California. So I don't know if you've seen, but like carjackings are up like crazy and just robberies and stuff like that. Well, in California, what they're starting to do is somebody will bump your car from behind. And so you think it's a fender bender, you pull over, get out, and then they'll rob you. There was a video of a man that this happened to in Sherman Oaks, California today that I saw. And that's what happened to him. The back of his car was bumped. So he pulled over thinking it was a fender bender, getting ready to get the insurance information. And he was robbed at gunpoint. Yeah, nice. Exactly. No, James just said it will only affect poor lawful gun owners. Yeah. And you know what's really crazy is a lot of the super liberal policies, the people it hurts the most are the very vulnerable and the poorest of the poor and the people that yeah. It's typical. If you look at almost every policy, that's who it hurts more than anything. Okay, we have time for like one more thing if you want to look at this. So I was reading about this earlier today. I'm sure you saw there were, and if you follow me on Instagram, I posted a lot about this on my stories. But there was Bill Malusian with Fox. He used to work for Fox LA. Now he works for Big Fox. He released some video footage yesterday of these adult single migrant men who were being put on buses and taken to the airport to be taken to cities all across the USA. Where are they going? What are they doing? We have no idea. And there were dozens and dozens and dozens of them. And we also got new numbers from the border about how many people crossed illegally. And this past December, I believe there was like 175,000 people. It's more than the past 3 Decembers combined. And I mean, it's just out of control what's happening. And yes, a judge did order the Biden administration to reinstate the Remain in Mexico policy, but apparently they've only used that on about 300 people or something. The number is ridiculously low. Well, the Secretary of Homeland Security, Mayorkas, had a meeting with Border Patrol agents in Yuma, Arizona. And some audio from that leaked. Are you serious? Eva, no! Oh my god. No. Now you have to be on camera again. Now you say hello. Eva, say hello. May Dorcas. Eva, say hello. Say hi to the camera. Okay. Don't do that again. She doesn't listen. Cranky kid. No, she's bad. You know what? Because I keep the door closed so it can stay quiet in here. And she just wants in and out, in and out, in and out. She does love the camera. She pretends like she doesn't. Well, anyway, this audio leaked from this meeting that Mayorkas had from... can't hear. Had with Border Patrol agents in Yuma, and they let him have it. One Border Patrol agent actually turned his back to Mayorkas. It was not pretty. So this is Julio Rosas from townhall.com. Stop! Eva! Stop it! No. No. No, I see. Just stay here. Anyway, so this is what he said. He said, I was given audio of DHS Secretary Mayorkas meeting with Border Patrol agents in the Yuma sector today. It did not go well. One agent turned his back on Mayorkas. Mayorkas acknowledged, I know that the policies of this administration are not particularly popular with the U.S. Customs and Border Protection, but that's the reality, and I'll see what we can do within that framework. So he says, I know these policies aren't that popular with you guys, but, you know, it's just the reality of this administration, and we'll do the best we can within this framework. That's basically what he says. Okay. Actually, I don't think it's popular with anyone that is aware of what's going on. I don't know one single person that thinks this is a good idea. But there was also a whistleblower, and he said this is for sure being done on purpose. This is not a mistake. This administration is a success because they're doing this on purpose. And that's why Mayorkas says, well, these are the policies and this is what we have to do. So one agent told Mayorkas the border was better under Trump administration. Sources say who were at the meeting tell me Mayorkas was visibly upset. Border Patrol agents are pissed and they let Mayorkas know about it today. So, an agent pressed Mayorkas on how DHS can reconcile saying border security is the main mission for Border Patrol, yet agents are unable to patrol the border due to the policies the Biden administration has in place. Border Patrol agents are being utilized to process the thousands of legal immigrants. Mayorkas said he appreciated the candor and explained that he is working to ensure agents have the personnel, funding, and equipment they need to do their job. The agents replied they have been hearing that answers for years. According to a source present at the meeting and the audio recording, the agent who asked the question then turned his back on Mayorkas. Just let me say, you can turn your back on me, but I won't turn my back on you, Mayorkas said. The agent replied Mayorkas turned his back on the agents first. Thank you. Yes, he did. I'm so glad the agent said that. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. That's almost insulting for Mayorkas to say, you can turn your back on me, but I won't turn my back on you. You turned your back a long time ago. You work for Homeland Security. That is in the executive branch. You don't make the laws. You are supposed to enforce the laws. We have laws. You are not enforcing them. You are not doing your job. I don't understand how this is okay. If you're hired at McDonald's to flip burgers and you refuse to flip the burgers, you will get fired. If you are in the executive branch and your job is to enforce the laws that have been in place already and you're not doing that, how are you? I just don't. This is so frustrating. Yes, not only did Mayorkas turn his back on those Border Patrol agents, he turned his back on the entire United States, the Biden administration, all of these policies. Mayorkas, all of them turned their back on this entire country. And we just had to watch them sit there and say all over national television yesterday how important it is that we protect the sovereignty of Ukraine and we protect the borders and no one will be crossing that border. How insulting is it? How demoralizing is it to know that our administration will protect Ukraine? They understand how important their sovereignty is, but ours doesn't matter. We don't matter. And now, I don't know if you heard, but if you're here illegally and you don't have an ID, you can use your arrest warrant as your ID to get on an airplane. It's unbelievable. I honestly, and I'm not even trying to be dramatic, and I know it sounds like I am. Don't forget, he's not the president. No, Mayorkas isn't. But he's still lying. And he knows this is wrong. They are just digging their own graves. And I know that Mayorkas doesn't make these policies, but he's still lying. And he's still in the job lying. What about the White House leaking Breyer retirement? What if Breyer says I won't? You know what? Oh my gosh, I'm glad you brought that up. I was reading that. I think that was done on purpose. So I didn't realize this, but activists have been trying to get Breyer to retire for, I think I don't know if it was since Biden got into office, but they've been campaigning to they're like, Breyer, retire. They've been campaigning to get him to retire. And I think you're right. I think is it buffering? I think they leaked that on purpose because he was pretty upset that it got leaked before he was able to announce it. And it's kind of, go figure, my service sucks too. Is it me? It's okay on my end. Is it me? Everyone in the government is going to be the... No, Masta, I actually saw... No, he's a justice. Okay. No, I actually saw, so I follow Jack, how do you freaking say his name? I always forget how to say his name. I'm so terrible with names. Jack Posobiec, is that how you say it? Anyway, I was following him. He has a lot of like insiders in the White House, and he said literally nobody is talking about, he goes, that's not going to happen, Kamala Harris being a Supreme Court justice. And he said, Posobiec, Jack Posobiec. He said literally no one is talking about it in the White House, and he was like, I don't think this is going to happen. Yeah, but I think they did that on purpose. And you know, how crappy is that? That just goes to show you how kind of soulless they are. Like, how crappy is that when it's somebody that you actually really like and you actually really respect, and then you're making a whole campaign. Masta says I got money on it. You're making a whole campaign for that person to retire. I want Nancy Pelosi to retire. That's because I don't like her. It shows how terrified they are. Oh, I actually have some Republican. I have some Republican reactions to that. So yeah, it says multiple sources tell me Justice Breyer was not planning to announce his retirement today. They describe him as upset with how this has played out. The least surprising thing ever is the retirement of Breyer. If you need proof that the Dems think the GOP will win the Senate this November, there you are. One person said, good indication of how Democrats feel about holding the Senate in 2022. Ben Shapiro. I always like Hokey Pelosi. I always like Ben Shapiro's takes. He's pretty funny. Justice Breyer can read tea leaves, and he knows November will be a wipeout for the Democrats, so he's getting out while the going is still good. I didn't know that he's 83 years old and is the oldest member of the court. He was appointed in 1994 by President Bill Clinton. Conservatives responded to the news on Wednesday that Supreme Court Justice Stephen Breyer is reportedly set to retire from the nation's highest court, with many suggesting that the retirement was motivated by projections that the Democrats are going to be decimated in the upcoming midterm elections. Silly. They want him to retire before the elections, exactly. Someone said, anything related to the Clintons is Michelle Obama is running in 2024, their only chance. I've said that I think she might. And I actually think, I am not a Michelle Obama fan at all. But I actually think that would be pretty smart for them to have Michelle Obama run, because she has the popularity. She's beloved. I think she's more liked. She's more loved than Hillary. Way more loved than Hillary. Trump made a comment today. He was golfing, and he made a comment that someone said, hey, there's 45, and he goes 45 and 47. So clearly, at the moment, he's planning on running, or at least he's saying he's planning on running. Will Oprah run for 2024? Heck no. I don't think so. I don't think she'll run. Don't give them ideas. All right, you guys. Well, I think that is everything for tonight. Thank you for joining. That was a lot of fun. I had a good time. I hope you did too. Big Mike would be a tough opponent. Oh, gosh. All right, you all. I'll see you later. Have a really good night. Good night, everybody. Thank you, Glenn. Oprah, yuck. Yeah, that's a big yuck. I used to love Oprah. I don't love her anymore. Have a good night. I'm sorry, Special K. I'll announce. I will check back tomorrow afternoon. I will announce when the next live stream is, so nobody misses the. I'll announce it tomorrow afternoon. I'm not going live tomorrow, but what's tomorrow? Thursday? I will go live on Friday, and I'll announce tomorrow in the afternoon or early afternoon what time I'll be live on Thursday. Eva should say goodnight. Hold on, where is she? I think she's in the closet. Hold on. Oh, she's right here. Okay, come here. Eva, say goodnight. She won't even look at the camera. Ow, ow, ow. You guys are going to get me scratched. Eva, say goodnight. She doesn't... She just looks like a big ball of hair. Eva. She does not want to stay on my lap tonight. All right. I tried. Okay, later, you guys. Thank you for joining. Bye.